The Dick Show.
So here's what I'm going to do. Before we jump into NFL, we haven't done this. We haven't done this in a while. I haven't had a good Chris rant in a while. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, dude, on the spot? I ain't got nothing to rant about right now, man.
Are you sure?
I'm
Your life is like golden right now? Everything is just...
No teacher problems?
not really. No teacher problems.
No kid problems?
No kid problems.
No wife problems?
Well, there's always what are you talking about? I mean, it's marriage, dude.
Oh, man.
No, you caught me off guard. I wasn't ready.
I know, that's why I did it. I wanted to see if it like spurred something or rattled the cage a little bit or...
No, fuck, dude. No, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Everything's hunky-dory in the life of Chris.
You fucking caught me in a bad spot.
Fucking button-hooked me. I didn't know you were going to button-hook me.
I know, yeah, exactly. I guess I zigged when I should have zagged.
Yeah, there you
know
go.
what I mean? No, I don't have a rant right now, man. I'm sorry.
Kelly, you got a rant?
No.
No?
If I do, I don't remember it.
All right. Well, shit. I
Yeah,
guess.
that fucking died.
I guess, yeah, that bombed. Well, let's just go to football then.
You should have given me a heads up. You should have given me a heads up.
I wanted to do that just to see. Anyway.
I'm trying to think. Is there anything that's been pissing me off? You know what?
You know what pisses me off?
What?
Neighbors that call the fucking cops on you because
Oh,
you're
here
talking
we
in
go.
your backyard.
Yeah, so this one is a good one because all three of us were part of it.
Holy shit. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah,
for a
so
second.
it was, what, Halloween? No, the night after. The night after Halloween.
Yeah, the night of the...
Game 5 when the Rangers won the series.
Rangers
Yeah.
won in the
Yeah.
World Series.
So we were watching that game in my garage. We had it on the projector in the garage, and we're all hanging out and having a good time. And we actually had planned on recording a... we had actually planned, we told you guys on here that we were going to do a live stream while we watched the game. So like a real life,
Watch along
feedback.
party.
Yeah.
Dick Show live.
Yeah, so we were going to do that, and when we went into our account to start the live episode, turns out we're required to request access to that, and then there's a 24-hour waiting period, so we were unable to do it. So while we're watching the game in the garage, making the best of a bad night, we decided, let's just do a reaction show after the game and drop like a quick 20-minute reaction to what happened tonight. By the time that game ended, we were all so kind of like over it that we opted not to do that. So Chris and I wandered over to Kelly's house and had dinner with him and his wife, and it was a nice dinner, great dinner. Thank
delicious.
you again.
It's fucking delicious.
Thank you again for that dinner.
Mm-hmm.
We eat dinner, and then we go outside, out in his backyard for some nightcaps, and we're just kind of the four of us sitting around bullshitting and talking. There was music on, to be fair, but it was in the house, not out back with us.
And
The
this
windows,
is-
the windows were open.
And this is
Yeah,
what,
but-
8:30?
When we
10.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
10?
it was probably like 9 when we first
Okay.
went out there.
Right.
And we drank a couple beers out there, but again, even though the music was on in the house and the windows were open, it wasn't that loud because we were having no problem talking to each other over the music.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like background noise. And we're sitting there talking. And I think the funny thing about this to me is just before it happened, we were talking about finishing our drinks and leaving. And all of a sudden, we're through the side gate, we can see a cop pulls up out front. And there's been a handful of cops,
Friendly guys.
Yeah.
They come by. And
Yeah, throughout the years here, we've made friends with the ones that patrol the neighborhood and stuff, and we were thinking, it must be one of our guys, one of the friends, that we've made over time, just stopping by to say hi and see what we're up to, because it's the only garage on the street that's open. And so we walk out there, and
It's
it is
10?
10:15.
Not even.
Yeah, it was like right at 10:15, which means they had to have called it like 10:01 to file this noise complaint.
Or 9:30.
Well, there's no restriction until 10.
Mm-hmm.
So that call would have been shut down at 9:30. You know what I mean? But we walk out there, and the first thing the cop says is, "This is an absolutely bogus call."
He's like, I don't want to be here, but I have to tell you, somebody called the cops on you. And I'm like, what? Yeah, apparently you're talking too loud in your own backyard.
Which I didn't even know was possible. Talking. I mean.
Talking. Well, Barbara's loud. She laughs, and she gets some beers in her,
Yeah.
and she gets louder.
Yeah. But
that happens, you know what I mean? But
but
even
it's still
then,
just
we
four
were
people talking.
we were not being like unruly. It's not, you
No.
know. I mean, we were talking about certain things, you know, but it's not like we were being superly loud or like overly.
So let's call a spade a spade. We were the victim of a few things working against us. The time of year, right? We're in that time of year. We're in Phoenix. It's finally in the 60s and 50s at night, so everybody's opening their windows when they go to bed. So they have a problem with us talking in the backyard because their window's open and they're laying down maybe in bed, and they don't want to hear us talking while they're trying to sleep. Go close your fucking window and turn the fan on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's four human beings in a backyard owned by somebody that has eminent domain. You can fucking be talking in your backyard.
Now, don't you have issue? Do you have issues with any neighbors or
Not
no?
Well-
that I know of.
So the problem with this situation is, as typical, Kelly asked him, do you know which neighbor it was that called? And he said no, it came through as anonymous, so I honestly don't know who it was. I'd fucking tell them they're full of shit if I knew who it was. And so there's no way to know which house this was coming from. But like I said, the time of the year, the circumstances, everything.
There's only 3 it could be.
Right.
Because I'm right next to a water retention area.
On one side, yeah. So, but at the end of the day, the result of this, what happens because of this fucking interaction and this phone call is, we decided it was time to go out back and pound a couple more beers. And what these neighbors don't know is they were about to get the peace and quiet they were hoping for within a matter of minutes, and then it just drugged out for another, half hour, 45 minutes after that because...
Well, I don't know if it was that long.
Yeah, we had another beer.
Yeah.
So we were there for a while still. But it would have been over if they had just let it play itself out.
Yeah, those.
But what did that do? That changed the conversation we were having. We went out back and started boisterously talking about neighbors not treating each other like neighbors anymore. The right thing to do is, if you're behind us, pop your head over the fence and say, hey, guys, we're trying to sleep. Do you mind keeping it down or taking it inside? I'd have been lot less offended by that
Yeah, exactly.
than I would have a cop showing up.
No shit. It's so much easier to tell somebody.
Talk
like,
to your
"Oh,
neighbors, people.
My fault. You know, hey, sorry about that. But if you call the cops and we have to go that route, and then I don't know who it is necessarily even after that, right? All you're more prone to do is just get shit talked
Make us
about
more
you.
belligerent.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's fucking stupid. That shit's retarded.
Yeah, there's certain times of the year where all these fucking neighbors set off so many fireworks. Oh, because it's okay? Like,
Right.
come on.
Right.
Anyways.
Yeah, that is a good, that's a good, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that,
You
you
know?
know, even with that, I didn't realize you guys didn't know that cop. I thought you guys knew that cop.
No, that
That's
one
what I
we've-
thought. I
Yeah.
thought it was.
Like, I thought you guys were friends
I'm
with
like,
that
hey, it's
cop.
Barry, and I'm like,
So-
you're not Barry.
So as I
I
walk
was
out
trying
there,
not
I'm
to
just
name
kind
any
of like,
names, but yeah.
as I walked out there, I'm just kind of like, oh, whatever. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you guys know each other. You know, that was my attitude.
Oh, that's 'cause we thought it was
yeah,
one we
I
did
assumed
know.
you guys did, but you didn't, and I'm glad because I didn't want to smoke weed in front of a cop that I didn't know.
It happened, but yeah, neighbors, talk to your neighbors. Let's stop being, and this is not, like, this is a problem everywhere. It's a micro problem in this neighborhood because most people do talk to each other. Imagine the neighborhoods we've all lived in the past where nobody talks to anybody, and that's the major problem. Go outside and meet your neighbors once in a while, people. As a whole. As a
Yeah.
whole.
I just say hi to a couple of my neighbors, the ones that are east and west of me.
Yeah.
You know, but the ones that are right behind me, I don't talk to them. We've had issue with them back in the past, or they would yell at the kids because the kids would jump over caddy corner into their friend's yard, and they would always yell at the girls like, "Don't fall in our yard. We're going to be liable for that shit." And I'd be like, shut up. I'd be like, they're climbing over that fence. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
You know, it
So-
just makes me mad. Like, I'm like, okay, we're not being that loud, that disrespectful. It's our property. Mind your own fucking business.
Dude, I've got a house behind me that's like the other caddy corner that the all the stucco up on the second level, it's all the way down to the fucking chicken wire, man. Like, all over the back and all over the side of the house and shit. And they're not taking care of the house at all. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you walk around the front, the bushes are all fucking super high. You can see in the windows, like the garage windows, like moisture build up, you know, like the cloudiness and stuff all around the corners of the windows. All of it's like
So that's their grow room.
stucco's chipping and stuff. So nobody's usually ever there, right? But then the lights will be on at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, or like the blinds will be open and then they'll be closed all day long. But then at like 7 in the morning, the blinds will be open and then they'll be closed all the rest of the day. Like there's never any activity going on there, but lights come on and off late at night, like 2, 3 in the morning. And then you never see, there's never any activity the rest of the time.
Does it smell good over there?
No. But I've plenty of times I've wondered to myself if it's like a fucking stash house or
drop
like
house or something. Yeah.
I mean, even like an immigrant, just like a fucking person.
coyote.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like a coyote
Use-
house.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But apparently, my neighbor next to me that is directly behind him has talked to them before, and I've met. It was like a older white guy that I met years ago when I first moved in or whatever. But you know, he's trying to tell him like, hey, you might want to get that fixed, and they're like, okay, yeah, whatever. But they haven't done anything. I never see anybody. Then I haven't seen it. I know lights are on, and I see like activity like that.
They probably rent it.
Yeah, I haven't seen
maybe.
anybody in the house for a long fucking time, but it's
Weird.
pretty shitty.
Weird.
Yep,
Well, should we jump into football?
I suppose so.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's start with last week. 11, 10, 9. 11 for me, 10 for Chris, 9 for Kelly. Correct picks.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. I picked Arizona. I don't know why.
Yeah, you two, what were you doing there?
I said the same thing. I could have sworn, honestly, I could have sworn I did not pick Arizona. Like, I thought I picked Cleveland. Obviously I didn't. But so I have no excuse for it. I fucked up. I don't know if I hit
purposely picked them.
Yeah.
I just don't know why.
I did not purposely pick them. So, I mean, obviously I did, you know, but there's no reasoning behind it, because if any reasoning, it would have been maybe Kyler Murray was going to start because they hadn't said anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But shit, Cleveland, there's no way you wanted to start him with Myles Garrett running.
Clayton Tune. 2 interceptions and 1 fumble lost. It was like had Dobbs in there.
Yeah.
Total yards, 58 for Arizona.
Yeah. I heard there was something like 20 teams had individual drives this week that were longer
Than our total
than
yards.
the entire total yards for the offense of the Arizona Cardinals.
Clayton Tune sacked 7 times. I didn't know we traded for the
Jones.
whole
I was gonna say,
Giants
just-
offensive line.
Did it.
Oh, we'll get into that one.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
So I don't know. What do you do?
God, that was not good. You know what's... But...
I have to admit, I didn't see just about any football this week because of being
yeah.
at NASCAR. So
Yeah.
I got to say
Yeah,
that right off the
neither
bat.
did I.
Yeah, same thing. I didn't really get to see any of it, but I just can't imagine.
Saw the Thursday night game. Saw the Sunday night game and the Monday night game. That's it.
I can't believe they couldn't get more yards though.
Yeah,
of that.
that's bad.
You know what I mean? That's
didn't
like,
know that.
That's horrible. Horrible.
Well, looking at the mid-season stats,
Do you want to do that yet, or do you want
the
to hold?
Browns are 3rd in defense.
Yeah, that's true.
I should have keyed in on that because they're
And that's why, like I was saying, Myles Garrett, man, he's
and they got 23 points this week.
yeah. Well, not hard whenever you're only giving up 58 yards on offense,
Right.
or as a defense only giving up 58 yards. That's insane. How does a professional football team only get half of a field in a game?
So I think we got to talk more. There's a lot of news about Bidwell being such a dick
Yeah, man.
as an owner. Like all of a sudden he's turning into Mark Davis or something, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It can't be good. It seems like we already had out here in Phoenix, you already had the stuff that happened with the Suns.
Yeah, with Sarver.
Yeah, with Sarver, and Sarver ended up selling the team.
Mm-hmm.
This Bidwell stuff, you know, and this goes all the way back even to like the burner phones,
Yeah.
you know, and some other shit. And now, as we gotten to this point, more shit comes out, more allegations come out about harassment in the workplace or
emotional
keeping,
and verbal abuse of his employees.
Keeping women separated from men intentionally, or like making them have to use a separate stairwell than the men. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear that.
No, I haven't heard this.
I mean, I've heard a bunch, like I've read and heard a bunch of shit. I don't know what is true, you know what I mean? But yeah, one of the things I read was if they encourage the women to use separate stairs than personnel and players and executives or whatever. So essentially, like any of the females they had their own stairway they had to use or some shit like that. You know,
Weird.
Who knows what is or what isn't? But that's pretty crazy, man.
And then the whole paying for lunches and like all the players, they get charged for all the meals.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah,
And
making
no,
the
I don't
players
think
pay
any
for the
other
meals.
team.
Yeah,
does
there
that.
was. Yeah, I think they were the only team that still did that, and then just some crazy stuff, you know.
Huh. Interesting.
Do you think it like? I mean, in the long run, what do you think happens though? Do you think like he sells the team? Probably not, right? It's been in the family for as long as it's been in the family. I don't see him just selling the team.
No, I don't
know.
think so either.
And then who buys it? You know, Tom Brady,
Right. No, Caleb Williams.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, since we're on the subject of the Cardinals, let's jump over to our former quarterback coming in the fourth quarter and winning a game. Minnesota beating Atlanta.
The alopecia antelope doing alopecia antelope things, man.
Yeah.
What are the stats that you had on Dobbs this
Some
week?
last-minute heroics there.
But he tried to give the game away.
Exactly. Yeah,
He
go over this
absolutely
real quick.
tried to give the game away. Dobbs came in the second quarter. He gave up a safety. He fumbled the ball 3 times, and he lost it twice. And yet they won in spite of him. Like it wasn't. He was in the top 5 for points this week. What was he? Number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Alopecia antelope going out there doing things. Just doing things. How crazy is that, though, that leaves this situation out here, goes out there and gets that done. You know what I mean?
And I'm pretty
Didn't
sure
look
they won
pretty.
on like the last play.
Yeah, it didn't look pretty, you know.
So, I mean, we knew that, but I mean, getting back to the Cardinals, we gave up a high pick for them, and we got nothing in return. It's like,
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Minnesota even had jerseys to sell.
Right. Antelope.
Oh, man. And then the earlier games than that, obviously Thursday night, Pittsburgh beat Tennessee, and Kansas City in Germany beat Miami, right?
So Kansas City, Miami. I'm not surprised Kansas City won. Obviously, all 3 of us picked Kansas City. I am surprised that it was only 21-14.
and it was 21-0 at the half.
Right. Yeah. So there wasn't really any offense for Kansas City at all in the second half.
But they managed to shut down Miami.
Yeah, they kept the lead.
yeah, that's a red hot.
They were able to pull
offense,
away.
so.
And I wonder how much of that is due to the traveling and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And playing in Germany, you're playing like overseas,
that's a long haul.
neutral site. The food's different wherever you're staying. Everything is just a little different.
Food's
you know?
probably great.
You would think
The
so.
German beer?
Yeah, you would think so, but
Nah, man, they serve that shit hot.
I mean, Guten Tag to some of them bitches, though, man. You know they were having a good time. You know what
I got a boner through my lederhosen.
Exactly, right?
Yep.
And then, so getting to the next one, the blowout of the week.
It's Baltimore and
Baltimore and the Shithawks of Seattle.
Yeah. 34-point win.
151 total yards for Seattle.
Still 3 times what we had.
And the Ravens had 515. But I was trying to look at it, and there's just a lot of punts. It wasn't a lot of turnovers for Seattle that I could see. They just couldn't do anything against the Ravens. Their offense was just mediocre. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, you know, we all picked Baltimore in that one as well. I thought it would be closer. You know what I mean? I think we even talked about something had to do with that spread in that game. I felt like when we were talking about it last week.
It was 5.5.
Yeah. But
Yeah, 5.5. Yeah.
definitely didn't end up there. You know what I mean? That was blowout for sure.
And then Chicago losing to New Orleans. And what do I have written here? For the Bears, 2 lost fumbles, 3 interceptions, 1 missed field goal. So, yeah, can't win games when you do that.
Nope.
Not at all.
And then jump over to Tampa, Houston. Close game.
And we all got that one wrong, too.
Yep.
That was the closest game of the week. And it came down to, it was a nail biter right at the end.
I thought Baker was back. Not this week, fellers. Not this week.
Houston did lose. They fumbled twice, but they lost 1.
Fuck C.J. Stroud.
How about
Yeah.
Stroud?
Yeah,
number
number
one.
Went off, dude.
On points on fantasy, yeah.
Went off.
30 for 42, 470 yards, and 5 touchdown passes.
No picks.
Nope.
Nice. It's a day right there.
Tank Dell, huh? I ain't never even heard of that.
Nope.
Dude.
I was looking at that too on the wide receiver.
But that's not the first time he's been in the top 5 for fantasy points
Really?
for a wide receiver this year.
And then Dalton Schultz, right?
Yep.
I mean, 27 points as a tight end. That offense was on fire this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the game that should have put me up was
Just because you're the only one that picked it.
yeah, New England losing to Washington. I had New England, and New England was intercepted at the Washington 33. Well, that was the scrimmage. I don't know where the ball was intercepted at, but with 38 seconds left, you know, if they don't intercept that, they at least kick a field goal for a tie and go to overtime. But Mac Jones just not doing it this year. And I said this before. This is all their new offensive coordinator. You know, Josh McDaniels leaves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not, I don't like Josh McDaniels as a head coach.
But as an offensive coordinator,
As an offensive coordinator, and they put a defensive coordinated-minded coach, Bill O'Brien, in charge of the offense.
yeah.
You're not going to win any games.
Well, I think, you know, even Bill O'Brien, whenever he went to Penn State, right, they kind of started calling him, you know, like somewhat of a quarterback whisperer and stuff for what he was able to do with their guys. And he was able to kind of turn Penn State around after the Sandusky shit happened, right? But, yeah, I agree. He's never really, even at Houston, obviously, he didn't do much.
I was going to say, he was at Houston for a while.
Yeah, and then he took the Houston job off of the Penn State, off of the success there. Didn't do much there. Went back to New England.
Yeah, because he was coaching
you know.
there when Hopkins got traded to us.
Mhm.
His
Yep.
whole team kind of got dismantled out from under him, so what chance
Yep.
did he have?
Yeah, and he was the GM as well. So he was head coach and GM.
Oh, at Houston?
Yeah.
So he's the one that
Yeah.
let that happen?
Yeah, he traded. He was the
I'm
one
shocked.
that
Which
he didn't
which
get
I
fired
don't I
sooner.
don't ever agree with that.
I don't either.
No, I'm
But,
shocked he didn't get fired sooner.
Yeah, but that was one of the reasons why he ended up getting fired. you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and to your point, even I wonder now if Josh McDaniels ends up going back to New England again. Because Belichick loves him some Josh McDaniels. You know what I mean?
Well, how many times did Josh Daniels sign a deal to be a head coach somewhere and then renege on it before the season started? I mean,
Well, the
that
Colts
happened like 3 times.
It was the Colts for sure.
Yeah, and I think it happened a few times.
Yeah, he had another instance.
The Dolphins, maybe?
Yeah, I was going to say, there was another instance as well.
Yeah.
He's kind of had that weirdness. Like Lane Kiffin has had some weird jumping around stuff too, you know?
Yeah. And I'll jump over to the Rams and the Packers.
This game was just a turnover game. So the Packers had 3 fumbles. They lost 2 of them. They missed a field goal. The Rams had 5 punts, a missed field goal, 2 turnover on downs, an interception, 2 fumbles, one of which was lost. And Stafford was out, and they had, I don't know, some new kid. Have to look him up. I don't know. Brent Rippin?
Oh, Brent Ripien?
Ripien?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he had a rough day.
Then Indy beats Carolina, which we all picked that one correctly.
Yep.
Carolina still only has 1 win, right? They're the one of the. How many teams only have 1 win? Are they only?
I think
team?
they're the only
Yeah,
one.
I was gonna say they're the only team.
No, Cardinals.
Oh yeah. How could we forget?
Bears, maybe? No, Bears have 2.
No, Bears got 2.
Panthers and Cardinals.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in that game, Indy only had 198 total yards because Bryce Young threw 3 interceptions. And you're not going to win games when you throw 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Not that Indy, killed them or anything. They just took advantage of the turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dallas losing to Philly. None of that didn't catch any of us off guard. I think what does is that it's a closer score than I thought it maybe would be.
It's actually even closer than that because at 5 seconds left in the game, Dak had a deep pass. It was caught, and they fumbled it at the Philadelphia 7-yard line.
Man,
and that was with 5 seconds to go. So if they make that catch, call a timeout.
Dallas might win
You got to
that
play
game.
in the end zone, yeah.
You're
for
coming
sure. You
down
got a
last
chance.
minute. So that's one of the games I didn't see, and I wished I would have recorded.
Yeah, and
DVR'd?
even,
Because I was at work, and I'm like, Barbara, you need to record the Cardinals game for me.
and even in fantasy, you look like Dak had a good game. CeeDee Lamb had a great game.
Yep.
Ferguson had a good game. So their offense was moving. They were rolling. They're scoring points. If they get that last chance, you never know. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Hurts
is also on the list.
Hurts
up
was in there.
Hurts had a good game. Yep.
A.J. Brown, I think, was in there. No.
I don't see him.
No.
Did A.J. Brown's streak of his 100 yards or whatever, did that get snapped this week?
Probably.
Yeah, I was going to say he had a pretty good streak going. I tell you what, man, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, that's a hell of a 1-2 to have. And Hurts has been playing like he might possibly be the MVP this year. Who knows? Philadelphia looks better than I think I even expected them to look so far. I didn't think they were.
They're continuing on from last year.
Yeah, exactly. I think they've been the most consistent so far of all the teams I've seen. It just seems like they've been the most consistent.
You were asking about A.J. Brown?
Yeah.
7 receptions, 66 yards, 1 touchdown.
So it snapped his streak. He had a pretty good streak going with, I think, like 6 straight games of 100-plus yards receiving or something.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb, 191 yards.
That's CeeDee Lamb went off. He helped win my fantasy week for me, for sure.
Yeah. Then we got Vegas and the Giants.
Oh, man. Let's just say fucking
I got one comment before you start.
go ahead.
8 sacks allowed.
And I didn't see this game. When did Daniel Jones go out? Was it early in the
I
game?
didn't see.
Was it in the
he
first
even
sack, the
started it?
second sack, eighth sack? I don't know. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised he started it.
And what is it, an ACL?
Yeah, ACL. I think he's done for the year. Tyrod's still hurt. It's getting worse. The bad gets worse. I bet you I will not be surprised if the Cardinals end up with a better record than the Giants by the time it's all said and done. I wouldn't even be surprised if Carolina.
One play into the second quarter is when Daniel Jones
Okay.
left. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so pretty early. I just don't know how many times he had been taken down at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 8 total sacks. Worst offensive line, I think, in the history of offensive lines. That's what it feels like anyways.
And the Cardinals have had a lot of bad offensive lines.
That's just what it feels like. You know, there was, I think it was even up to a couple weeks ago, they weren't even last in sacks allowed. But I think with the addition of the last 2 games, I'm pretty sure now we are number 1 in sacks allowed as a
So
whole.
who the hell is Tommy DeVito?
Couldn't tell you.
Because he's your quarterback now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
I have no idea.
I got to look up the old Tommy D stats. You know what I mean?
I will say that the Giants had the ball more than the Raiders did, which is kind of surprising. Time of possession, 31 minutes versus 28, almost 29 minutes.
It's because we kept getting sacked, dude.
Well, that's because Vegas was scoring in 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd hold on to the ball, fucking 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a rough one for sure. And then the next game was probably going to be, I think everybody knew, one of the toughest ones to pick. Buffalo, Cincinnati. That's 2 heavyweights going at it. Chris is the only one that got that one right. He picked Cincinnati. Kelly and I both took Buffalo. But again, we all knew that was going to be a heavyweight fight. And almost
Cincinnati's back.
Yeah, almost call that an AFC championship preview.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
It feels like. Buffalo right now, though,
minus Miami and Kansas City, can't really.
If I heard correctly, I believe if the playoffs started today, Buffalo would not be in the playoffs.
Well, we can pull that up.
I think if I heard that correctly when I heard it.
Yeah, we can look and see. What in the hell is this thing doing?
Just go to standings.
Yeah, just go to
and then
standings
league
real quick.
or conference.
Yeah. It's odd that it did that.
Yeah,
you're
as
right.
of right
Buffalo
now, they would not be in the playoffs. And that's crazy because, I mean,
neither would the Bengals.
Yeah, that's
for that matter.
That's how
No, they would. The Bengals would be number 7.
that's how small the margin is right now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, I don't know that again, that to your point, that looks like it could be a potential AFC championship game. However, if you look at right now, you got the Chiefs and the Ravens are 7-2, the Jaguars are 6-2, the Dolphins are 6-3. The Steelers, despite having like no offense and still a minus 30 point differential, are 5-3. That blows my mind, man.
Yeah.
They're 2-0. They're 2-0 in the division. They're 2-1 on the road, and they're 5-3 overall, and they're 5th right now in the AFC.
Yeah,
And
with a minus 30
with
point.
a minus 30 point differential.
Yeah.
And they're in the playoffs. And to that point, the Bengals sitting at 7. They've got a minus 7 point differential, but they would be in at this point. The Bills, though, 4-1 at home, 1-3 on the road. That's a big stat.
Let me see that most there.
And then 1-2 in the division.
What are you after?
I want to sort some things.
Okay.
Give me the power. Give me the power.
Tell me what you want to sort. I'll sort it.
So, that's the Eagles, 8-1. They're the only 8-1 team.
Mm-hmm.
They look like they're the team to beat. Lions quietly 6-2. They started out good and then they kind of went, "Brr," and then
I would say 6-2 is not.
Well,
yeah,
they've
but
only
there's not a
only had-
whole lot of news on them.
And they've only had one division game so far, too, which I'm not saying they're going to end up losing a bunch of games. They've got to deal with Minnesota, Chicago, and Green Bay, right? So
Garbage.
Yeah,
and-
they're not.
Yeah.
They're not really going to be dealing with
And Josh
much.
Dobbs.
Yeah,
So they're going to win a lot of those games.
yeah.
Oh, good luck to them.
I don't know.
So-
Don't sleep on the Bears, man.
Points for Dolphins, Eagles, Bills, Ravens. That's your top 4.
Yeah, the Bills scoring a lot of points still, right? Top 4 in the league in points scored. They're plus 80. So they've done a good job at scoring. Just their road record, that's what's killing them.
Look at this surprise one, number
1-3.
6. Indy.
Oh, yeah, for points for, huh? And they still have a minus differential as well. But look at the Ravens differential, one above them.
Yeah.
115 differential, 239 to 124.
Well,
By
yeah.
far and away destroying everybody else in the league by 35 points, right?
Yeah, the Bills number 2, 49ers, Cowboys, Chiefs, Dolphins, Eagles. I think you look at these net points, I don't think anybody with a minus in that category will make the playoffs.
Well, and if we're looking at that, then you're definitely saying the Steelers won't, which
won't.
are right now in the playoffs, and the Bengals also would be a team not making the playoffs based off of that too.
At the halfway point, right?
At the halfway point.
Points against.
And I agree. I think it would be insane if a team with a negative point differential made it into the playoffs. That just does not seem logical to me at
No.
all,
Ravens, Browns, 49ers, Chiefs, Cowboys. They all have the lowest points against.
Can you look up? I'd like to know what defense has the most turnovers created, or or the most interceptions or fumbles, forced fumbles, just to know. Because the Cowboys' defense as a whole has been solid, but they're not points allowed. They're not the best defense so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, I'm curious on like turnover creations.
Trying to figure
who's been
out
the best.
why.
Uh-oh.
Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, stats.
Hang on, you got to close that.
Uh-oh.
You got to close that. Here.
Uh-oh.
That's what I was looking for. I got it. I
got
got
it. But we.
I got it.
Yeah, but we got
Go to team
audio.
stats.
Hang on.
Go to team
hang
stats.
on. We
Team
got
stats.
audio playing that we can't have playing. I heard it in the headset.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was trying to stop it.
You wanted defense?
Yeah, I just wanted to see who has the most interceptions as a defense.
49ers. Oh.
No, hold on. It's sort of separated by Saints
Saints and the Bengals.
and the Jaguars
Yeah.
and the 49ers.
Okay, and the Ravens. So you're looking. The Ravens and 49ers are one of those. They're a couple of those top defenses. Cowboys are right there with 9. Cowboys have 3 interception touchdowns.
What I wanted to look up was offense. And sacks allowed.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see that. I mean, I wouldn't because I know where the Giants are at.
Yeah.
It's got to be on there somewhere. Oh, there they are. Sacks.
Yep.
49
Number one.
sacks
Yeah,
allowed.
so the Commanders were number 1 up until like 2 weeks ago, and I don't think it would have mattered really. I figured this would have happened, but fucking halfway through the season, 49 sacks allowed.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
That's beating up your quarterback.
Are you
That's
freaking
that's
kidding
quarterback
me?
abuse.
Yeah, and then Commanders. And then the Jets, Bears, Panthers, Titans, Falcons, Broncos. Cardinals at half of that, 24. Like it's ridiculous. And the lowest team, the Chiefs, have only
Allowed
Mahomes has only been sacked 12 times.
Yeah, you say only, but that is actually sounds like a lot for him and for that team. I mean, compared to years past. That's like a whole season number for him normally.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have to look at previous seasons, but yeah, I don't think he's ever been sacked a lot in his whole career.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
think
mean?
this is an anomaly.
He's so good about getting the ball out too.
Yeah, he knows when to just
very
throw it
quick
away.
release,
Yeah.
and he's good at using his feet. Plus, he's a big guy. You know, he can kind of muscle his way out of like not a strong tackle. It's hard to bring him down if you don't have really have a hold of him.
Yep.
Look at that though. Even surprising, the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, getting the ball out quickly, man.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's still a product of Tom Brady's time, and they put a good offensive line there.
Right.
Right? The Bills, the 49ers, the Dolphins, the Lions, the Seahawks, Packers, even the Texans. CJ Stroud's only been sacked 18 times.
He's under 20 on the season. Well, look at that. For young quarterbacks, too, like Love, to only have 18 sacks allowed against a guy like that who's trying to learn on the job.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see where the Panthers are.
A surprise to me with that, Panthers
way up
are
here.
way up there.
29.
Still
Still.
only half,
Yeah.
20 less than the Giants.
There's two teams that have given up 40 plus, and two more teams giving up 30 plus.
Yeah, and everybody else is 29 or
And
less.
3 of those teams are NFCs, and 2 of them are in the same goddamn division. The
Yep.
Giants and
The
Commanders.
top 2 are in the same division.
Same division. How horrible is that?
Meanwhile, the rest of your division is kind of in the middle of the road. Cowboys at 23 and the Eagles at 22.
Yep. Oh, Eagles. Team's good, man.
I thought the Cardinals gave up more than 24. I mean, they gave up 8 the last game, so that means they only had 16 before.
Coming into this last week. That's
or
pretty good.
7, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yeah, if you take that away, and for all the talk that they've had about their offensive line kind of being spotty, I mean, that's not a lot of sacks given up. However, one thing Josh Dobbs was fairly good at was scrambling, right?
Yeah, I mean,
he
that's
was
why
able
we
to
called
get
him what
out.
we called him, right?
Yeah, alopecia antelope, man. He was doing his job.
Yeah. All right, well, should we finish up football real quick? Because we still have the whole nother game to talk about that we hadn't gotten to yet, the Chargers and the Jets.
It's just kind of a boring game.
That was another lot of turnovers game.
Yeah, I mean,
the
3 fumbles lost by
the Charger or
by the Jets.
Yeah,
So
and they allowed 8 sacks as well. So
I'd heard an interesting
sloppy,
stat.
just sloppy football.
yeah,
with-
total yards by the Chargers was only 191.
And they have 27 points on but a lot of those were defensive points, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Justin Herbert, who did not have a very good game this week at all.
And special teams, I should say, also, because one of them was a punt return for a touchdown, too.
Interesting stat I heard. Through his first, I think this is his 5th season. Is that correct? Something like that. He is
Herbert? That sounds about right.
Justin Herbert.
Sounds about right.
He is on pace right now to set the record for the most passing yards up until this point in a career, throughout the first 5 seasons or whatever. He's actually on pace. He has the rest of this season to set it, obviously, but he was only a few hundred, 200 or 300 yards behind Dan Marino for most passing yards up to this point in his career.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. Only 5 or 6 seasons in or whatever. And it looks like he's going to have a pretty good shot at passing that.
So he's going to have Dan Marino numbers and no ring to show for it,
Yeah.
just like Dan.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I can't remember who the second was, but it was another pretty well-known quarterback, like Pat Mahomes, I think. I think it was Pat Mahomes, something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, he did not have a good week this week, though.
nope. So I guess there was only 2 upsets this week. Minnesota beating Atlanta They were the dog on that one, and Washington beating New England. So looks like Vegas is setting the lines pretty accurate.
Yeah, that was a 4.5 point line in the Minnesota, and it was a 3-point game. And then it was a 3.5 point line for Washington, and it was a 3-point game, right?
Yep.
So
Biggest blowouts: Seattle, Arizona, Giants, Jets, Rams. Oddly, not a lot of super close games. Houston,
I think
2 points, and then 3, 4, 5-point game. The rest was like 7.
I think that Baltimore game, it was a blowout, but that just feels like it means a lot more considering they did it to the Seahawks and the way Seahawks have been playing so far this year.
Yeah, that was a statement game.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say is I feel like that was a statement game for Baltimore. It's going to be interesting to see coming in here to the second half of the season how these teams are looking. See if the Bills can make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think they will, right? But again, to like we were saying, the Bengals, if you take away that start, maybe the point differential is different, right? But if they stay negative in their point differential, it's not going to be easy to make the playoff at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Steelers at minus 30, I don't know if they're going to be able to stay with
keep winning games.
Yeah,
that way.
keep winning with having a winning record above 500 and depend on their defense to win games for them. You got a whole nother half of a year to do that. That's tough,
Mm-hmm.
So we're halfway through the season. I gave you some half fantasy point stats there.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to see. You got your top 5. You got like 2 or 3 guys that are head and above everybody else, and then we get into 5 through 7, and they're all consistently have the same amount of points. Leading right now for quarterbacks, Josh Allen, 210 points. Then you got Jalen Hurts coming in at second with 205. And then number 3 is Mahomes with 171.
Yeah.
So, the top 3 quarterbacks there, and there's quite a spread.
Mm-hmm.
Running backs, McCaffrey, he's leading, and then that's with 200 points. And then Raheem Mostert, number 2 at 170. Travis Etienne in Jacksonville, 164 points. And then it drops off number 4, Josh Jacobs, 132 points.
And it's actually shocking that Jacobs' number is even that high. We've documented his struggles this season so far.
He's had a couple of good games the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but just to say that he's come back to making the top 5 in that, with that alone is kind of surprising.
Exactly. And then for wide receivers, you got Tyreek Hill. He's leading everybody in all fantasy points, 224 points.
Yeah.
Number 2, A.J. Brown, solid year, 203 points. Stephon Diggs with Buffalo, 195. And then you get down to, the 160s with Keenan Allen and Puka with the Rams. So, you're seeing it again. Like the top 3 guys are just heads and tails above everybody else.
Yeah.
Tight ends, Kelsey 140. I thought he'd have more, but wasn't he hurt at the start of the year?
He did miss at least one game.
So I would have thought he would have been up close to 200 by now,
because he missed that opener against.
But I like everybody that their first round they take a tight end, Kelsey, who gets like 250 points ahead of, as a first round pick, ahead of like quarterbacks that are going to get 400.
Right.
Like everybody's like, I got to get Kelsey. He's the best tight end.
I've always been told that running backs are the place to start.
Not so much now. Now it's wide receivers because it's a point per reception. So if you get a running back that's a receiving running back that can catch 100 passes and run 100 and 200 times, those are the guys. That's McCaffrey.
Yeah,
that's who you go for. Somebody that out of the backfield that can,
Put up big numbers,
Yeah. So, yeah, Kelsey, 140, Hawkinson, 130, Mark Andrews, who was hurt, 124, and then you got a couple guys, Laporta and Komet at 110. Kickers, Elliott. We should probably look into more like who's kicked the most 50-yard field goals this year. I think that'd be an interesting stat. But all these guys are kickers. They're
Kickers are kickers.
kickers are kickers.
Mm-hmm.
Defense,
Dallas
Cowboys. Still, after that 40-0 drubbing of a certain team from New York.
They've just been rolling.
They've just been rolling. I don't think. I think they made the majority of their points off of a couple of games.
Yeah, it's been like 2 or 3 games that they've made a fair share, lion's share of the points. For sure.
Well, we talked early on in the season, though, about this defense being a very good defense and that's what they are going to rely on.
I think they've had 3 games of 20-plus points
On
alone.
defense.
You know what I mean? On
Yeah.
defense. Had like 26, 24, and 25 or something
Yeah.
like that, you know?
Yeah.
So,
From a fantasy perspective.
yeah.
Yeah. Baltimore, number 2. Cleveland, number 3. The Chiefs and the Saints all tied at 80 points with right there. So that's our halfway stats.
I just wanted to, like, as a whole, talking about Cleveland's D, I didn't expect their defense to really be quite that good. But really, the heart and soul of that is Myles Garrett. And this year, he's already had 9.5 sacks so far this season. And I don't know how many he had, or wait, how many did he have versus Arizona? 1 sack versus Arizona, I think. But he's also forced 4 fumbles this year on top of that. So, he's been having a really good year for them defensively. He's been standing out surprisingly to me. I mean, I know he was good coming into the league in his first couple seasons. He put up stats, but I think he might end up becoming a Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap up NFL real quick because we're kind of
we're getting to it. Getting to it.
Still got one more segment to cover. So, just real quick on the season, 88-48 for me. Chris is at 79-57, and Kelly's at 77-59.
Damn.
So you guys got a little bit of a hole to climb out of. A quick preview of this week's games. What are we looking at? What do we got our eyes on as far as good matchups here this week?
Browns and Ravens.
That'll be interesting.
Texans and
It's a
Bengals.
good division game.
49ers and the Jaguars.
On
And
paper,
then-
you wouldn't think that would be. I mean, saying it out loud, you wouldn't think that would be. But on paper, both those teams are playing pretty well.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a 3-point spread.
Yeah.
So
and a couple 5 and 4 teams, the Saints and Vikings. I don't know.
Well, I know one game I won't be too happy to pick against.
Dallas and the Giants.
Yeah, I won't be too happy to pick against.
Remember week
my
1 we said
Giants.
we're not going to pick the Cowboys at all? We
Yeah.
all had to.
I mean, I've been
back off
picking
that.
them. I've been picking them quite a
Since
quite
week 1?
Yeah,
Ever
quite a
since
few
week
games
1?
this
Yeah.
week or this year, and I'll definitely be picking them again. And I'll definitely be interested to see how many points their defense scores this week in fantasy.
Yeah.
Then I like the Lions and the Chargers.
Yeah, I was just looking at that game. I think that'll be a fun game. Detroit's a 2.5-point favorite, I think. They're 6-2 going on the road. The Chargers, they've been a little inconsistent. I mean, Herbert's been good, but they're 4-6 on the year. Is that
4 and 4.
4-4 on the okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and we've got 4 teams on a bye this week too.
Yeah.
So
And then the Atlanta Falcons coming to here.
So that's going to be
play the
interesting.
yeah,
Cardinals.
Atlanta being only a 1-point favorite is somewhat surprising.
Well, I think it's because they think Murray's coming back. this
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Okay.
Kyler should. I mean, he actually. I even just read this just in. he's fully activated on the 53 man and he's ready to go. So it looks like he's going to be starting this
Gotcha.
week. So you look at that. That could be. I mean, if anything, that's a changer for the Cardinals immediately, right?
Right.
You get a guy out there that has
Hopefully.
at one point been an MVP candidate, for standouts for his standout season. So we'll see how that goes. I hope the Cardinals win that game. Atlanta, I don't know who they're going to be starting at quarterback. Desmond Ridder had been kind of getting some starts, but he had struggled to really move the
put
needle
Heineke
for him.
in,
So they put Taylor Heineke in. I'm guessing they're moving with Heineke going forward. Algier has been all right, but they got Bijan Robinson. That kid can run the ball, so that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Let's go Cardinals.
Right on.
I guess that's pretty much it for the NFL, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's wrap that up and get on to our next subject right after a quick break.